In today's video, we're going to be talking about outsourcing for customer success. Outsourcing is a very important thing in business, but if it's done the incorrect way, it could actually paint the wrong picture in the eyes of your customer. So if you would like to learn how to outsource for customer success, then please stay tuned to the end of the video and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, a lot of companies outsource, and there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. I know eventually in my company here, my business, I know I may have to outsource a couple of things and stuff like that, which again, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing, but outsourcing needs to be done the certain way. Now, let me explain. Now, most companies have two teams, okay? Most companies have the in-house team. Now, the in-house team is going to be defined as members that are all located within the same country, but still employed under the same umbrella, under the same company. So this is going to be the in-house team. The in-house team doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be in the same facility or even that they have to be in the same state. But as long as they're in the same country, as long as they're, in the same region, that's actually considered as the in-house team. Now, the second team, and which is also a very, very, very important part of the equation, is going to be the outsourced team. Now, the outsourced team are going to be team members that may live in other countries, but are still employed via the company. Again, so they're outsourced, so they could be in like another country, but they still are employees of the company, but they're just like an offset kind of team. Now, the outsourced team generally in business is going to be the first line of contact that the consumer interacts with. So for example, let's just say if I call, let's say my bank, and then as soon as I call the 1-800 number, normally I'm going to be greeted by the outsourced team. Typically, this is going to be someone who may not be really fluent in English, or either they may not know exactly what to do. So most of the time when you encounter a sales rep or somebody like that you're talking to on the phone, that initial person that you initially talk to, 7.5 times out of 10 would be the outsourced team member. Normally, you don't really talk to the in-house team members until you've, kind of talked to a few outsourced people about what you need and everything like that. And then after about 20 minutes of being kind of drilled through the ringer, then you're put in position with the normal in-house team. So let me explain to you why outsourcing for customer success is very important. Now, let's go back to, like I was mentioning earlier, when you initially call in to a company, you're going to be in touch with typically a T1 agent. And normally T1 and T2 agents are typically going to be outsourced agents. Now, these are still phenomenal agents, but it's a little bit different. Now, the way how you get all of your agents that are on the outsourced team on the same page is going to be to make sure you have them all trained exactly the same way how the in-house team is trained. Considering the fact that the outsourced team is going to be the first line of defense for your business, it is very, very imperative to make sure that you have the outsourced team with the same training seminars and the same wikis and the same lesson leads and everything like that you have prepared for the in-house team. So now, if you know that the outsourced team is going to be your number one first line of defense, that first line of combat to defend your company, please make sure that you have them, again, like I mentioned a second ago, please make sure you have them properly equipped with the same type of KBs and guidance channels and things like that as if you had set up for the in-house team. Because most of the T1 agents, the outsourced agents, typically they're going to be undertrained. They're typically going to just, be great people who mean well, but they don't really know like the lingo of the in-house team. They don't really know the lingo. Again, they really want to help the customer out, but the disconnect comes from different language barriers and things of that nature, different misinterpretations on statements and things of that nature. So you want to not have your customer upset once they initially call in to your company. You want to make sure that the customer is very, very happy when they call in. So in order to keep the customer happy when they call in, it's imperative to have all team members trained the exact same way. Now, let me give you an example on what I am talking about. Okay, so I used to work for a medical call center, really good call center. And so the first line of defense was a outsourced team. Okay, so anybody who needed, general information like their ID cards or either like a EOB or something like that, generally the outsourced team generally could handle something like that. But let's just say if the customer called in and wanted to, let's say, change his or her address or something like that, the T1, the initial outsourced team, they typically can't handle nothing like that. That would typically be routed to the in-house team for something like that, address changes and payment information and stuff like that. Now, once your customer calls in, they're already upset because they have to waste their time calling into your company. And then once they call into your company, the first person who they talk to, again, probably isn't going to be exactly fluent in English. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, you have to teach that T1 agent, that initial sales rep or initial tech rep or whoever, you have to teach them the internal lingo that the in-house team uses. Don't leave your outsourced team out in the open. Now, let me give an example on what I'm talking about. Again, like I was mentioning, I used to work at a medical call center, and then this lady had called in and she was like needing her address change or something like that. Her and her husband had got a divorce, and then she was moving back in with her mom, and then so she needed to have her address changed in the system. So the T1 agent couldn't do that. But here's what happened. So the T1 agent done a really good job on, facilitating what the customer was calling in for up into, up to the best of his ability. Okay. Now, the T1 agent phoned in to me, me being the manager, he phoned in to me. He was like, hey, Tony, I have a customer on the other line here, man. She needs to have her information changed and everything like that. And so now the T1 agent, no, he wasn't that fluent in English, but I clearly understood what he was saying. And the customer clearly understood what he was saying. He did a really good job, even though he wasn't too fluent in English. Now, everything was going really good. So he brought me and the customer onto the phone together. He did like the warm transfer. Now, here's where the misinterpretation happened at, and the customer just lost her shit. Okay, now the T1 agent was like, Tony, I have Sarah on the line here. Sarah, I have Tony on the line with you. Tony is going to be able to get that address updated for you, Sarah. I have Tony on the line with me right now, Sarah. You may now speak. Oh my God. Once the T1 agent said that, Sarah lost her shit. Sarah was like, oh, you MFer. Don't you ever GD tell me I can speak, bitch. Don't you ever say any motherfucking thing. Don't you blah, 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 blah. I mean, she just completely lost her shit on this T1 agent. Now, I knew what the gentleman was saying. I knew what he was saying. But it was a language barrier. Now, this particular T1 agent, again, he was from overseas. Really good agent, really good agent. But that misinterpretation from the consumer to the T1 agent, that enraged the customer, because the customer then felt like, oh, yeah, he telling me I can speak. I don't need your permission. And so that's why the customer got upset and lost her shit once the agent told her, you may now speak. Again, I knew what he was saying. I didn't necessarily think he said anything wrong. I don't, he didn't deserve to be talked to like that. But I do see where the misinterpretation came from. Now, misinterpretation is a really big thing, especially when you're dealing with outsourced team members. And that's one thing that I have right here about misinterpretation. Misinterpretation is something that you want to avoid at all costs. So the best way to avoid misinterpretation, again, is to have all of your outsourced team members trained the exact same way as your in-house team members. Outsourced team members are equally important as in-house members. Again, because they're normally going to be the first line of defense for most businesses. 7 out of 10 times, the outsourced agent is going to be the one who typically takes care of you. But it's imperative to make sure that you have them trained the exact same way with the lingo and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure if another country had their outsourced team over here in the States, I'm pretty sure it'd be wise to get us here in the States on their lingo, how they are over in, over there, like in their territory. So remember, it is imperative to train your outsourced team members in the like grammatical things of how we operate here in the States. Again, because just imagine how that customer felt being told you may now speak. Again, he said nothing wrong actually, but it was the way how it was interpreted, and the interpretation means every single thing. Now, once it took me a half an hour to get the customer calmed down, and everything, she had actually went and called her son and called her husband. They was actually like planning on like rolling up on this agent. Like, thank goodness he was overseas and stuff like that. Thank goodness. But she literally like called her husband, and like they was getting ready to like go hurt this guy because the customer felt very disrespected. And then when she called her husband, and I was on the phone because she had me on one phone and she called her husband from the house phone, like, and everything. So I was like, oh my God, like this lady is berserk. Oh my God. But I felt terrible for the outsourced T1 agent, because again, I'm pretty sure like his day was like down the drain after that, because she talked to him like a dog. But again, after it took me a long time to get her calmed down, I finally got her address updated and everything like that. But it was just the fact of the interaction could have been done within 3 minutes. The whole thing could have been done within 3 minutes. It didn't take a 45-minute like transaction to update somebody's address, when all that had to have been done was for basically the outsourced team to be trained the exact same way as the in-house team. Now, let me show you on my diagram right here, okay? Now, so this is the company right here, okay? Now, this is the in-house team. On my diagram right here, you can see the company here, and you see how the in-house team is still connected to the company right here. So this little line here is the company right here, and then this is the line that connects the in-house team to the company, almost like it's like bungee together right here. Now, here's the company, and here is the outsourced team. The outsourced team is way over here, okay? This is the outsourced team. This is the company. Now, as you see, the outsourced team, they don't have a secured straight bungee right here as the in-house team does. The outsourced team, they have ... So the solid connection here between the company and the in-house team ensures that a good connection is happening between the company and the customer. This terrible connection right here, this ... this spotchy connection here, it actually sets the outsourced team up for failure. It honestly does. It sets the team up for failure. So you don't want your company looking like, oh my God, this company hires idiots, and everything. You don't want that perception to be given by the customer. You don't want your customer to be thinking nothing like that about your business, nor about your employees. You don't want anything like that. So to avoid that, please give the outsourced team a bungee just like you have your in-house team. Your outsourced team deserves the same tools, the same tricks, the same know-how, the same password access, the same every single thing as the in-house team does. And the reason why I say that, if you know your outsourced team is going to be the first line of defense, why not properly equip them with the right weapons to go to combat with? You know, you're not going to go up and go to war with the machete and they spraying AR-15s. No. You're going to get pulverized. No, you're going to be demolished. No, you're not going to do that. You know, so you want to make sure that you fight the good fight. You want to make sure that you have your customer service department intact, so that way your company looks like legit and it looks like, wow, they actually hire really good, knowledgeable people who know how to help me, who know how to go above and beyond to take care of my issue. You know, that's the kind of response from customers that you want or whatnot. And that's why outsourcing for customer success is very, very critical in everything. Because again, the incorrect outsourcing can lead to a business that spins down the drain just like bath water, you know, going on down the drain. Now, one thing I want you to remember before we leave here, even though the company is here and the in-house team has a direct bungee to the company, and even though the outsourced team has a spotty connection here, but the grand scheme of it is, the in-house team and the outsourced team are all one big team, okay? And once you can realize that the outsourced and the in-house are one big team, things will really start kind of transitioning for your business, because customers will feel that love between the in-house team and the outsourced team. Because a whole lot of times when the customer calls in and they speak with the outsourced team member first, they're so upset that when the in-house team member has to get on the phone and kind of sweep up the mess and everything, so to speak, then the in-house team seems like the savior. And then the outsourced team seems like the bad guy, when in fact, the outsourced team isn't the bad guy. The outsourced team just doesn't know exactly what to do. So please, it may cost you a few dollars more to properly train your outsourced team, but please don't leave these good people out in the cold, because again, these are your agents. You hired these people. So please give them the proper equipment needed to thrive in business, because if you don't, this is only going to paint a bad picture for you, the business owner, not them, not the outsourced agent, and not even the in-house team agents. This is actually going to paint a bad view of the business owner. People are going to be Googling who owns Tony's Tech right here. Who owns this? Tony Reed owns it. You know, Tony Reed's an idiot. So no, you don't want customers thinking anything like that about you or your business. You want to make sure that you take good care of your customers, because customers are the one that pays the bills. The company only shuffles and distributes the money. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time, I'll catch you later.